When will Gary Bettman just undo his mistake and move this garbage organization? Keep waiting.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Locked On Coyotes, #1 daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes. I am Robyn Leonio. That's Matthew Jacobson right beside me on this wonderful Wednesday. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. We got a great show for you on today's episode, brought to you by Birddogs. Just be sure to head over to Birddogs and enter the promo code LOCKEDONNHL. They're for a 3 custom Birddogs Yeti style tumbler with every order. But we got a great show on today's episode because we are talking about, let's just say Gary Bettman just not giving up on the Arizona Coyotes. He remains committed, Matthew, to this team staying in Arizona, which has people baffled.
Yeah, it has some. Let's go ahead and just draw some parallels real quick. In the same context that Tempe was married to the idea of maintaining their dump, it appears the NHL is married to the idea of maintaining their garbage fire, because that's how this has been covered. All right. There's so many opinions. Well, I shouldn't even say so many opinions. It's just kind of different variations of the same opinion, which is pretty much plug and play any of these. Garbage organization. Why won't you just give up, put them out of their misery, and something about Gary Bettman like holding the league hostage, and that's the reason why the salary cap isn't going up. And you can definitely tell the people that have the strongest opinions literally have no idea what they're talking about. And I get to make fun of them for a living. I am blessed. I am truly just happy and staying in my lane today.
Oh no, it is really fun to, even though we are Coyotes podcasters, we are a Coyotes media, so we're like on the front lines of the offensive and the defensive, but it is just fun just to sit back sometimes and just watch the people attack.
Yeah, it brings me joy. And this is the I want to make sure I'm getting the proper context here. It brings me joy to watch stupid people do stupid things, because usually if I get enough of it, I can make a video reading off tweets and get a few hundred views for literally no effort. And look, we have to get into this, but I just want to kind of end off the little the hazing at the top of the first, as it were, because the D-backs are playing. Well, not right now, but they'll be playing when you're watching this. Idiots on Twitter make me a very happy man. That's all I can say.
I mean, it's, again, like I said, it's just fun to watch, because it just makes you look at and just make add the question. Just like, I'm glad I'm just not that stupid.
Look, it's a similar feeling to. One last little shot at Tempe. One last little one. Similar feeling to one of the quotes was, "Why are you voting no on this?" And it's like, I wouldn't go there, so I don't want my tax dollars going there. It's like, you're so close to having a point, but you're also so off and so factually wrong that I'm just kind of enjoying it. That's just where I'm at.
Absolutely. But let's get into the meat of this, though, because there was a press conference before the beginning of the Stanley Cup final where a reporter legit asked, "Hey, why are you so committed to a team like the Arizona Coyotes to stay in Arizona?" It was like, or are you committed to them? And he's like, well, he said it, full forth. We are committed to the team of staying in Arizona.
Yeah, and it's funny. I just want to point this out. A personal friend of yours on a different show literally pointed out the first question, as soon as it was open to the public or open to questions, is what's going on with the Coyotes? Yeah, are they relocating? Like, that's literally like, no matter what happens, Coyotes live rent-free, and we're the number one topic. The Stanley Cup is about to be played for. Again, you already know who I'm stealing this from, all right? Thanks for giving me all these nice little paraphrase quotes, Leah. But, like, literally, the Stanley Cup is about to be awarded in, like, a week. And we're talking about the Coyotes, who are this irrelevant franchise that are never in any serious discussions. We're literally in more playoff discussions than actual playoff teams. But the first question is, what's going on with the Coyotes? And Gary Bettman, to his credit, has always been very consistent with the commitment to this market and saying the Arizona Coyotes, paraphrase, obviously, I don't have the quote in front of me, but I've listened to it way too many times over the last few days, is that the Arizona Coyotes are exploring all of their options in the greater Phoenix area and that they are hopeful that they will not have to relocate another team. He also went on to kind of extend that point by saying they're in a better position now than they were 10, 20 years ago to be able to hang on to losses, essentially, and keep teams where they are, and that's a sign of a stable league. Not like, hey, you're losing money for, let's just say, 5 years, right? Well, now we got to move the team. Like, if you don't have to think about that because the revenue streams are finally being solidified and everyone's like, okay, even if you're losing money, we can kind of mitigate that, that's the sign of a healthier league. And, of course, they don't want to leave this market, and everyone just won't let that point go. They're like, it doesn't work there. Why are we being so stubborn? If you have to ask why they're being patient with the Coyotes, I'm going to be blunt. This is my opinion, not Lockdowns, not Robin's. You're an idiot. You are literally someone who probably shouldn't be allowed to operate a motor vehicle because it is the most straightforward answer that people like me, I know, if to give myself some credit, I'm almost a real reporter, right? Almost there. We're making some progress. But if people like me know this answer like the back of our hand and just, there you go, it's really an easy answer. And the fifth largest city in the country, 1.6 million people as of 2021. The greater Phoenix area just reached 5 million. I do believe last year I was reading a small little snippet from, I think it was AZ Central. You're not leaving that. If you do not have to, you are not leaving that. And if you think they are, you know what? Maybe you're back in the Stone Ages with the NHL of old, where I guess we can just kind of, not even the NHL of old, the WHA of old, where I guess it ain't going to work. You're going to fold, or you're going to go here, you're going to go here now. Like, that's where your mindset's at, like, realistically.
Plus, as you said it too, not just the team, but the league is just better off this year and now than they were 10 years ago, or a little more than just a little over a decade ago. Let's take a look back around then. The Coyotes, yes, they were kind of going, around then we're kind of going through the bankruptcy issues, and there still were a lot of questions in that. They did get saved versus the Atlanta Thrashers, who ended up getting moved into Winnipeg. Mm-hmm. If the Coyotes were having the same issues now, still back then, then maybe or the same issues that were going on with the league then going on now, then yes, I'd probably say, it might just be good, the right time just to say goodbye. And, maybe a decade down the road, an expansion team comes back to Arizona. But it just, now it's like, why even worry about that? If so many teams want to expand, right? So many cities want to expand. They're willing to spend almost $1 billion in expansion fees? And why would even the league want to worry about relocation when they can sucker up so much money from a city just off expansion fees?
I love that you brought that up. I forget what the actual numbers are, so please feel free to correct me. Wasn't Vegas like 500 million and Seattle 700 or 800 million? Like, yeah. Literally, the next expansion will be $1 billion. And the Senators were valued at like 800 million. They're about to sell for over $1 billion. Like, this is the best time to own an NHL team, and I've heard that multiple times from different people. I do kind of want to push back a little bit against one of the points you made, but we could do that after we get paid, because of course we got to make sure we pay the bills here.
Absolutely. And today's episode is brought to you by Birddogs. Are you tired of sacrificing comfort for style when it comes to your activewear? Introducing Birddogs, the game changer in athletic shorts. Picture this: premium shorts designed for maximum performance combined with unparalleled comfort. Birddogs are here to revolutionize your workout routine. With the unique built-in liner, these shorts offer the ultimate support and flexibility, ensuring you stay comfortable even the most intense workouts. And here's the best part: Birddogs are more than just workout gear. They're versatile enough to take you from the gym to the street without skipping a beat. Birddogs are made of premium breathable fabric that keeps you cool and dry throughout your activities. Perfect for the trail, the gym, simply just lounging around. Birddogs are the shorts you've been searching for. So order your pair of Birddogs today and join the thousands of satisfied customers who have made the switch. Visit birddogs.com/LockedOnNHL and enter the promo code LockedOnNHL and get a free custom Birddogs Yeti style tumbler with every order. Birddogs, where style meets comfort, performance meets perfection. Get yours now and unleash your true potential. All right, so Matt, I do want to hear that. What you said, the little pushback. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I want to push back a little bit. So just to kind of relay the groundwork, we're answering the question of why are you so patient with the NHL, and obviously trying to characterize the people appropriately that ask that question as people that should not be operating motor vehicles, especially early on in the morning. But essentially, 5 million people in the greater Phoenix area, 1.6 million in Phoenix alone, fifth largest city. I think it's the 11th largest TV market when it's combined with Prescott for some reason. That was only like a 5-minute research thing I was doing earlier today for an unrelated thing. But there you go. There's your stage. All these reasons why you should not leave. Now, I do want to push back against the idea because I pushed back against it on Twitter. I do want to maintain consistency. I don't think it makes any sense for let's relocate them for now and then re-expand to Arizona because it took them 16 years from moving to Glendale to getting Alex Morello here, an owner with the pockets and also the desire to keep them here. Our problem right now is a building. And yes, right. that literally has been brought up by people like Steve Peters. It's a great point because we have the ownership now. It took that long to get that right ownership here. Right now, the problem's the building, and that's one of the easier problems to solve when we've been through this with the bankruptcy, with selling them to owners that just didn't have the money, to selling them to another owner that didn't have the money, and allegedly likes to be a not very good husband. But that's just a little side note.
I mean, you're right, because you take a look at it. Ice Arizona, not a great owner. Again, look, that did not last. Led into terrible, terrible financial problems. Enough that the NHL had to bail them out. Mm-hmm. Then comes in later on Andrew Barraway and we already know what the deal is with Andrew Barraway after what happened, especially just in the last couple months. But but look, there were still a lot of financial problems that happened under there. Alex Morello comes in and he has the money, so he's like he doesn't seem too worried that the problem that I think the problem that's still going on, and the reason why he's getting so much heat is he inherited just an absolute mess from what Barraway had initially. Even Barraway, I still consider Barraway, not a great owner, but even he inherited a mess. So it's just gonna keep rolling on. And there's not going to be any change unless you have that owner retain and hold on and really commit to the market. And it really seems that Morello is a owner that is committing to the market. I mean, he said it, right? He said it at the Tempe City Council meetings. I want to be here.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, there are cynical financial reasons, but you know me, I'm a capitalist. As long as you're doing business above board, make your money, because a lot of people end up benefiting whenever the businesses make their money. But the point I wanted to make was it took us that long to get the owner. And the building is something that is relatively easy to fix. Look, just because playing permanently at Footprint would require Matt Ishbia, I still am going to disagree with the notion that a temporary solution there, if they needed more time, couldn't be a thing the NHL would swallow. That doesn't mean that they would. I'm just saying I disagree with the notion that they wouldn't be willing to.
No,
that's my personal opinion. Because
Footprint Center is a much better temporary solution than Mullet Arena. Don't get me wrong. As you said it right, this is the same thing you said. I love Mullet Arena. Great atmosphere. Just amazing vibes. The fans there are great. It's loud. You can see everything from there. And if you actually have ever skated in the area. I mean, maybe I haven't skated on the actual NHL sheet, but I skated on the community sheet. Amazing quality ice. But again, it's just not viable for any for long term. For those 3 years, maybe yes, sure, fine. But any longer quote temporary solution, you need to find something that's going to have more butts and seats. Footprint center would be that option. I still believe, and I think you said it, it's just not great for permanent because of those terrible sight lines. But the fact that there is a committed owner to find other solutions. Again, Footprint Center was just one of those options, right? Because how many options did we go through?
Way too many.
Way too many options.
Way too
Some
many
of them,
options.
again, aren't 100% viable. The idea of going to tribal land is a little bit difficult because you have to go through permits. You have to go through a lot of other concessions that we just don't know if Alex Morello wants to give those up. But there's private land on Mesa. There's other things to figure out. But the point is the team is committed and the league is committed.
I kind of want to extend on the point with Mullet, and I love Mullet. It is literally just working there. It has almost replaced Jobby.com Arena in terms of like an arena that I have a personal attachment to and personally value. That being said, the vibes have been very different since the no vote. Like, I'm someone who bought very much into the Tempe experience. I'm someone who bought into ASU quite a bit. I always liked ASU, but like other than the ASU hockey, it's just like I've liked them, not like been super into it. Started trying to get into the other sports on campus. It feels so weird now that the Coyotes will not be staying in Tempe. Mullet, in my opinion, temporary, obviously, and it needed to be temporary. Nothing else is acceptable, but only if that arena was being built in Tempe. Now it just feels like it actually, to me, feels unacceptable to play there. That's not me saying that they shouldn't be allowed to kick them out. That's just me saying like the vibe is completely changed. I don't know if I'm alone in this. I don't know if other people feel it too, to where like that if you go to Footprint Center, you will get 10,000 plus a night. And I know that's on the lower end. I think it seats about 15,000 at the max for hockey with all the sight lines and everything. But someone looked at said, "Oh, what do you mean 10,000 plus?" I'm like, well, yeah, because if you're still a bad team, you're still not going to fill the building every single night. But I had the privilege of speaking to Steve Peters last week and kind of getting a feel for the vibes from someone who was there whenever that place was rocking. He described it as it being the place to be, as it being a hot ticket. That's the vibe you want, with also more people being there, more opportunities to sell tickets, more opportunities to generate income if you're going to be somewhere temporarily. Now, Footprint only works long-term with Ishbia. I'm still pro sell the team to Ishbia. But like when it comes to a temporary solution, if they're okay with that, and that's something that they can do for like a 2 or 3 year thing while something's being built, I'd rather than be there than Mullet because it feels so weird now. Like it feels weird.
Yeah. And I think the thing that has to be figured out too, though, and I think it isn't a major thing. As we talk about this team being committed, is how is off ice training and other kinds of things are going to look like for the Coyotes, because that's still something. We're talking about an arena, which is great, but you need the full-fledged everything for them.
Mm-hmm.
Right now they don't have that. But maybe we can. I want to get your thoughts on that in a little bit, because we do need to pay some bills and hear from our sponsors on the show.
That is right. So let's have the gambling man talk about the gambling stuff. We got some FanDuel Sportsbook to talk about today. Make a fast break to FanDuel during the NBA playoffs, because right now, new customers can get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's $2,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. So let's just say, for example, I was like, Jimmy Buckets is going to go off for 35 points or whatever an NBA stat line is. I'm a hockey guy. I don't know too much about the basketballs, but if I missed, I can get that $5 or $6 back. I'm a cheap bet. So there's no better place to bet on your playoff action. America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and get a no sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA.
So let's finish off some of our thoughts here because we were talking about why the NHL is so committed here, and that's here, and there goes to the addition to the question, Matthew, the commitment, even despite the fact that they don't even have a training facility.
Well, okay, that's a little. While you're yes and no, like you are technically correct, but they do technically have the training facility over there at the ice den, and they were renting out the office buildings, and they renovated it to be a workout facility. So it's they do yes and no at the same time, and it's you do need the permanent, facility. Let's say, just straight up, that ice den was just their private practice facility, and they owned the building, and it was all up to NHL standards. That'd be different. That would kind of be like how they have it in Vegas, but it's a little bit off from where T-Mobile Arena is. It would be a similar concept, but it wouldn't be the exact same. If you get what I'm saying. So it's
well, see, on ice den is fine,
Mhm.
right? You take a look at a lot of other teams; they just practice on a community sheet on a community sheet somewhere nearby, right? And I'll kind of reiterate it again. I grew up in San Jose. I grew up watching the Sharks. The Sharks practice facility is now where the San Jose Barracuda play.
Mhm.
And they just happened to play there and train there, and it and it worked. It was not the worst area either, but it works when everything is there and close. But it was definitely worth putting out that question too, and just kind of just really just put into perspective. I think that's the big thing I want to say, because despite all that, the league is still committed to Arizona, to the Coyotes in Arizona, which is
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
honestly, which is astonishing, but also it really kind of reiterates the things that we have been saying this entire time, because we talked about the TV markets, we talk about just the money and the ownership and the commitment, and just overall the financial stability of the league. We went through all of that over the course of this episode, and yeah, the Coyotes have these issues, but if you see these issues through and kind of ride them out, there will be that light at the end of the tunnel.
Because there's money to be made here. I only got to watch it with footage, but again, getting to talk to people that were there, that know what it was like. That place was packed at America West Arena. As someone who was there in 2010, 2011, and 2012, when the building, when they had a winning product, they're in the playoffs, the excitement was there, the fans were there. I was shocked when I found out years later they didn't turn a profit those years. Now, it makes sense because they were a league run. Everything was probably as bare bones as it possibly could be. At the start of the 09-10 season, I kind of didn't really remember until my old co-host Richie was talking about it, where 8,000 people would show up at the start of the 09-10 season because no one knew what the hell was going to go on with this team. And frankly, you really can't blame them, because if they think the team's gone, it's going to take away a lot of the excitement. And apparently they were giving away tickets like fries or whatever. But
I mean, yeah, you can take a look at a true dejected franchise, just by taking a look at another team in another league. I want to kind of point an example, because there are some differences. I mean, similarities in terms of the issues that's going on, but differences in terms of how the fan base is reacting. You look at here in the Coyotes fan base, they're very we're very optimistic. It just seems very different. But the Oakland A's fan base, that is a dejected fan base. They feel so defeated, and also that after the initial announcement, there wasn't even confirmation in any real deals. just the initial announcement that the A's will potentially be moving to Las Vegas. Their very next game, they have the home game. They have 2,000 fans show up to a stadium that holds over 50,000 people.
I feel so bad for A's fans. I'm not going to pretend to be the most knowledgeable in their situation. I know it's a lot of bad ownership. I know the building does need to be replaced. It's a really, really old building. But watching like Brody Brazil, like trying to be as educated as I can on the topic, where like he's phenomenal work. And also when he covers the Coyotes, he actually does at least a little bit of research and doesn't make my job harder. So I does
like there's a couple things he gets wrong with the Coyotes, but I feel like he does a lot more work than everybody else.
Like it's honest little mistakes, or it's like a couple of small like jokes, but it's never like the venom. It's like a couple of like lighthearted jabs or whatever. Like it actually feels
he was the
like
one that
he
was the one that after the Coyotes was announced that the Coyotes would be leaving Glendale, he's like, move him to Scottsdale. He wasn't saying
the best spot.
He wasn't saying move him to another city, relocate the team. He was saying move him to Scottsdale.
So like I like him, but it's like, that fan base it has to be frustrated. Where one of the reports was like the difference between Oakland and the A's was like $95 million, and it's like now they're like just trying to pack up and go to Vegas. Which, if I'm up to date on that reporting, it seems like they're not going to get that, at least as of right now. So it's like, good, go back to Oakland and work it out, because A's fans deserve a lot better than that. And well, yes, theoretically, it's in the same Bay Area. You could end up being Giants fans. Like, they're never in the same conference either. So like, it shouldn't be as big of a rivalry, but I'm also not from the Bay Area. So it could be a bigger thing than I realize. But you still have baseball there technically. I still don't want to see the A's move and like have people that grew up A's fans have to lose their team. I'm not going to wish that on anyone.
I have a lot of friends of mine who are A's fans, and they, I've discussed with them at length of how much they've gone through. And I've never gone to the Coliseum for in any A's games. I've gone to Giants A's games in San Francisco. Those are great games, and they bring in a lot of A's fans, despite it being a Giants facility. A lot of A's fans are still there, so that really gives you an idea that there are still a lot of A's fans in the Bay Area. I hope it works for them, but again, as it goes to the point, is that a dejected fan base right now, versus there still is like dejected sect of Coyotes fans out there since the election. I kind of felt that way in the first 24 hours. The first maybe less than 24 hours, about 18 hours. The first 18 hours, I felt very dejected. I got felt a little bit better by 24 hours. But the majority of us are feeling optimistic because of the idea that the team has said they're committed. The league has said they're committed.
Yeah, but it's also like Coyotes fans are just built different. Like, look, leading up to the election, like it was literally the day of. That's when I started feeling negative. I started getting anxious and like that. Like you saw my live reaction. It went right from like disappointed but not surprised to like, okay, but there's backups. Like they're not going anywhere. Like immediately going back into like fight mode, because and I will not stop banging on about this. So if you're tired of hearing about it, comment below. I'm not going to read it. But that pregame video in the playoffs, and I think it was 2010, where they had Alley in the Jungle playing, like, where it's literally just about like people going through struggles and getting right back up. That's the anthem of this fan base for me, because we have been knocked down time and time and time again. And no matter how many doomers they are, no matter how many people are like, oh, well, this team's gone, whatever, like screw those people. All right, they'll either get over it or they'll go do something else. But the actual core fan base here, even if we're down for a couple of days, even if it actually is like a gut punch, it takes us a while to get back up, we're going to get back up, and we have that fighting spirit. Because what the hell else are we going to do? Like, our entire existence has basically been the NHL, not the league, but like the other fan bases kind of against us, and we're still like flipping a middle finger in the air like we're not going anywhere. Like literally the South Park clip that I edited where it's like, I didn't hear no bell. That is the Arizona Coyotes. Like that's literally why, in my opinion, this fan base isn't the A's, not because like we're better, but because like we're just so used to this that we just keep fighting.
I'll add one more thought before I close things up, and there's a big difference. I think it's a lot of the prop up of support that that is being provided, and it's kind of like like a back and forth prop up, because the Coyotes prop up the local communities, but right now it is the local hockey community that's helping show that hockey belongs here, and why I believe the league remains committed in Arizona, because they see that outside of the team, just the team being here, that without them there is no hockey local community here, and that it will just die. Then that could potentially just die off, and they will potentially lose any other hope of hockey working here in the future.
Yeah, and also the last key difference, just to kind of megaphone one of your points earlier, and I've also heard it from A's fans, the NHL has remained committed here for many reasons, and they just haven't given that same commitment to Oakland. And I understand some of the reasons why, I do, but it's like, if Gary Bettman was like, yeah, it doesn't work in Arizona, or yeah, they're going to be, the Coyotes themselves are talking with Salt Lake City right now, like, I would feel a lot different. Even though I would still be scrappy, how long would that scrappiness last? So it's like, I completely I can empathize with is empathize or sympathize? I'm an idiot. I don't know which is the proper one, where it's like you could feel for someone without like fully understanding it.
I think it's empathize, yeah. But I hear you. But I'm going to allow you to give any final last thoughts before we close things off.
If you keep asking stupid questions, I'm going to keep calling you stupid. And at me, please. I love the interaction.
We'll continue. Yeah, I mean, we will continue to prop up the Coyotes and say, hey, they belong here, up until even after maybe they say that they're leaving, but that's not going to happen because they're staying here in Arizona. But that's it for today's episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you have yet to already. We're available everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube and the Sirius XM radio app. If you can interact with us on social media, we're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes, and on Twitter at LO_Coyotes. I am personally at Robyn_Leonio. Matthew Jacobson is at the AZ Sports Guy. Interact with us, ask a question you might have. We might interact right back or on a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you guys are staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.